What are we talking about?
First we say hi.
I feel like we skipped the hi.
Don't say hi.
No.
So today we're talking about the contest.
For anyone who doesn't know what the contest is, we're saying it like the contest.
Yes.
We're talking about the call to action Webtoon contest, where they are judging single episode entries for 10 prizes of a lot of money.
That's as far as we understand from the rules.
Well,
Because nobody explained them. There's
no,
public
like,
statement, nothing.
see,
Just
I feel like that's the main issue that Webtoon has. It's not that the rules are not vague. The rules are very clear, right? And Hart said they answer as many questions as someone could initially have about the rules. But then the problem is that as soon as you go to follow the steps and follow the rules, as soon as you start the process, you realize that you can basically do whatever you want. So, because their system doesn't seem to make sense with the rules that they're putting down, that's where that's the problem that most people have. Because they're like, oh, we're gonna be judging a single entry under this criteria. But then you go in and you can enter as many entries as you want, and they say we'll only judge the first criteria. But because you can put as many entries as you want, that in their system affects the criterias. Like if they're saying we're gonna judge you based on your popularity, and because you're constantly posting, you are constantly at the top of their list, so more people are gonna read you. Now that affects one of the main criterias.
do you think they will be disqualified?
I don't think they should be disqualified because it's Webtoon's fault. No?
They should lock it after one post or something like that.
Like at this point, like what, say that again?
They could lock it after one post you post. After
They
it's
should have,
up.
because they can do that. Like, I understand that they have to keep that they probably had to keep it open for a while, just so that people could go in and modify or fix or put images in or out, right? So it wasn't like a post on your, and if you made a typo like me, you can't fix it. So that I understand, but allowing you to keep posting, that is a thing they could have easily fixed. That could have easily been done, and it wouldn't have been a problem. So, was it an accident that they just refused to address? Or did they do it in purpose? Because again, they keep making very questionable decisions when it comes to any of their contests all the time.
But it's good they're making this contest. Like, do you know of any other platform that's openly making this contest? Like, for some context, the call to action contest, it's a big, exclusively for action, for the action genre, Webtoon contest. So I don't see many opportunities for creators around the genre and the style to like get recognition like this.
Because there's not a lot of making action sequences in comics is hard, and not a lot of people have it down. And not just that, I don't know. It's the first time. It's good that they're doing it because it's the first time that the website is making a push specifically for action content. But it feels a little late.
In what sense?
In the sense that most of their canvas creators and most of the readers are not used to it or are not interested in it, or in the case of the canvas creators, they are not used to it. They're not used to that kind of work. They don't know how to do it. And in the case of the readers, most people don't go there for action content. That is changing now with all the Korean series that they're translating to English. But
a while back they brought Gosu. That's a great original.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones.
One of the best ones.
One of the best first ones. Well, there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah,
that have been coming.
As good as Gosu.
Have you read The Boxer?
No.
It's so good. It's like Hajime no Ippo is very much about the life of a character and seeing boxing as a sport and as a very matter-of-fact technique. From a technique point of view and from a sport point of view. That is how Hajime no Ippo looks at boxing. But The Boxer looks at the main characters and looks at boxing as metaphors. And as so they don't talk about the technique, they talk about they talk about what the fighters are feeling and like why are they fighting, and like that translates to like the visuals, and I think it's dope as hell.
So this whole contest should be, or it is probably Webtoon's attempt to like bring back the action genre.
Well, no, I think, and I've been talking to people about this a lot, I think Webtoon started bringing big action series and they saw that they were performing really good, and then they also noticed that they don't have a Western counterpart. They have in their platform as many Korean series about romance as they have Western series about romance, but they have maybe 3 big action Western webtoons, of which only one surpasses the numbers of millions, and the other ones are like stuck at a few 100,000 subs and such. So like they don't have the inventory, and I feel like they're just trying to build inventory. They see, oh, people are interested in good action series. We should try to get people to make action series.
Yeah, but action series, as you said, have like high requirements in drawing. Like you need to know your perspective. You need to know like how to draw the body.
Well, it's not just that. There's a lot more. Like when you do a romance story, it's usually a story about a tight group of characters, and it's a lot about emotion, so you most of the time focus on their face. But when you talk about an action series, you're talking about characters that are pit against each other, so they have to be frequently in frame together. They have to show up. They have to, like, you're more often drawing their entire body or large amounts of their body, and you're drawing difficult poses, and you're drawing more characters, because usually in a fighting series it's never going to be just 2 guys, so you have to draw more characters more often and more often to get the same amount of material as a romance series. So that's why usually the staff for like a big action webtoon in Korea is a lot bigger, and it has to be a lot more visually spectacular,
because people get engaged by the spectacle.
Yeah, if you go to a action series, you're going there most likely for the action, so it has to be visually impressive. As if you do it almost any other kind of story, as long as the people are pretty, that's enough.
Like most common manga, the rom-com manga,
yeah.
Usually the genre is very same about what they draw, but
yeah.
We've seen like there used to be martial arts mangas, like some years ago that were just ridiculous on how much movement they could portray or how big the frames would get, or even you don't need to go that far. If you think about maybe the mainstream Shonen Jump manga, the action panels, there can be some crazy panels. Like I remember Bleach, crazy panels like One Piece, or Naruto.
And it's what I'm saying. Like if you can make a very good romance story with just 2 characters and a room, but if you want to make an action series, like a long running action series, every fight, there's so much that goes into a fight, because where they fight is important. Who's fighting who? Like I said, if you have it only being the same 2 people all the time, that goes stale unless you can really like do it well. Like I feel like there's a lot more factors visually that matter.
I remember saying dialogue writer that all he needed was a character on a chair.
Yeah.
For a good dialogue.
Yeah. That's what happens with comedy series. You only need a face to make a comedy series. You only need a person in a white void, blue chair.
Yeah.
So there is not that some series are easier than others. It's just different skills and it's different things that are difficult. If you make a comedy series, sure, you can just have a circle with a face, but it has to be funny.
Yeah, you gotta be a great writer.
Yeah. If you have a romance, you have 2 people, but it has to be believable.
And the pacing is always an issue with those.
Yeah.
In the fighting manga, you just add another guy and another fight. Pacing's whatever you want.
Yeah. There's also the thing that when 2 characters fight, they rarely talk. It's usually people outside the fight that talk. So you have to add more characters in.
Those long explanations in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Always somebody in the sidelines talking shit while there was the people beating themselves.
It's always like that.
So, what do we hope happens with this contest?
I don't know. I hope they at least stick to their word and they do only judge the first episode of each entry. Because a lot of people have been worried about that. Because again, they don't have a great track record when it comes to the decisions they make about this, like around these contests.
We're also hoping that SKYLARK wins. Go to the Webtoon website, click on the call to action, look for SKYLARK, like it, comment, shredder it around. I cannot say the word share.
Or you can just look up SKYLARK call to action on Webtoon and it should take you to the entry.
Yeah, because how long will it be up, the contest?
They will judge until the end of September. And yeah, from then on it's just
prizes.
No, hold on. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. They judge until the end of this month, and then they judge until September 30th.
They accept entries until the end of August.
No, they stopped accepting entries at the beginning of August.
Oh really? No more entries?
No more entries.
But they keep judging.
They keep judging, and you can keep reading, and that also matters. That also matters.
Man, you win, man.
I hope so too.
Because the action sequences in that chapter were great.
Thank you.
Like, where did your inspiration come from? Because that's the first chapter in which you dig a bit into boxing. Here's boxing.
Yes. Well, it's a combination of things. I have more time watching and reading boxing stories, and so I am more familiar with the poses for boxing. Full body poses become really difficult, and like I said, it's more effort because every time you're drawing the 2 people. So it was a matter of effort, a matter of knowledge. There's also this thing where I want his repertoire of moves to be somewhat limited, so I can build upon them later. But I always take inspiration from kung fu movies. That is like the best source of inspiration for any action, anything that you make. It's kung fu movies. Go watch kung fu movies. I have a playlist.
You have a kung fu.
I have a kung fu fight playlist. A playlist that is called Fighting Inspiration. Because very few movies outside of classic kung fu movies keep the camera steady enough so you can see each movement, play with slow motion so you can see them even clearer. And I've seen a lot of people talk about, like, I watch a lot of people talk about how you make a good action sequence. Jackie Chan talks a lot about that too.
The genius. You should watch his old movies. Old Jackie Chan is a
Because
master.
I feel like there's nothing worse when you're reading a comic or watching an action movie, because this also happens in action movies. But I feel like there's nothing worse when you're when you're watching a fight than getting lost
and not understanding who's moving where.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. For example, I cannot watch Transformers because once they start fighting, I don't understand shit.
Yeah. Like, I feel like a good fight is one that you can sort of, to a point, predict when you see. I don't know if you get this, but when you see a punch, when you're watching a movie and you see someone throw a punch, you kind of know what they have to do. Like, oh fuck, it's coming that way. He has to block, and then the intensity comes from something stopping him from being able to block, or just being so strong that blocking doesn't matter. But that ability to read the fight is what I think makes a fight good, because you have the two types of bad. The bad where you don't know what the fuck's going on because they keep switching places and this keeps moving and they keep jumping in time, even if it's just a few seconds. So the moves become confusing. You know, oh, someone punched someone and now they're in a completely different area.
There are like small time skips in the frames to accelerate, to make the fight look faster, but they get you lost.
So that is one extreme of bad. I try to avoid at all costs. Make it readable.
And actually, when you talk about this, you can see it in the SKYLARK frame, because that is what Garen chooses to do. He chooses to take it slow and actually start reading the moves to control the fight.
Yes. And you also see it before. The entire time that Agatha is destroying him, it's because she does not stop. You can see it that every time she does something, she immediately does another thing, and then immediately does another thing, and then immediately does another thing. And that is part of the second kind of bad that I see in action scenes, and this happens more in manga, where they make one flashy move, and then they have to get away from each other and talk for a while. And then you summarize the fight, and it was just like, they swung their swords 4 times.
Like Knights of the Zodiac.
Yeah.
with a big ass flashback.
Yeah.
And somebody crying.
Yeah.
And then another big move.
So even if the choreography is readable, there's so much padding and stuff in the middle that you still get lost.
I still love Knights of the Zodiac, by the way. It's a great series. Very creative too. Knights of the Zodiac helmets. And we watched Dawn of Night.
Yeah, but you could see the face of all of them.
Not
the ones you couldn't see the face of didn't matter.
the patriarch.
Who was that?
The Gemini Knight.
That wasn't a dude.
And you also couldn't see his face.
That wasn't a dude.
So couldn't see any girl's face.
But they were masks that were faces.
Yep, that's funny.
And they were recycled characters that were all the same color switches. I thought that was funny. I never understood why, like, they had no distinctive characteristics aside from the color switches. And it was like, one would have green pants and red hair, and the other one would have red hair and green pants. It was like...
Probably some kind of recycling. You gotta cut corners somewhere.
Yeah.
This contest thing is being going for a long time. How long did you prepare for it?
I remember I was traveling and I was getting ready to post. And then I saw the announcement that the same day that I was gonna post, and I decided to... I saw the announcement a week before I was posting, and immediately started working on it, and I worked on it for like 2 months, because things kept getting in the way, and I kept changing things. It could have taken me less time, but the way I went about it was a little... And I was also traveling, so by the time I was technically done with it, I didn't like it, so I decided to change it. Maybe like a month and a half, 2 months.
Well, if you have any more questions, guys, you can always leave them in the comments, or you can send him many messages or spam him in all the social media you know. Special props to the Patreon people.
Yes, special thanks always to my Legion.
That's the Rage Legion. It's been Rage and Alma. Always remember, we have merch available.
Yes.
And keep listening to the music. There's gonna be tons of links for anything we make, so you guys can check it out. See you guys in the next time.
Bye.